Hi guys, today on our drawing D&D characters, we're drawing Damrus's character. He's a third member of the archive crew. Sort of already had a pose sort of sketched out here, but I made him very squat. I was trying to get the proportions of a tiefling for this one, because my character Mort, Cruella, and Damrus are all tiefling characters. He's playing a tiefling rogue, Cruella's playing a tiefling blood hunter, and I'm playing a tiefling, what am I playing? A tiefling wizard. So here he gave me a picture of his horns again, so we're sort of like just sketching out the horns here. He's still looking so thick, so juicy, so plump, so stretched sideways on the x-axis. I think I fixed that later. On this image that I'm looking at the end, I fix it, so we'll get there. Damrus is the only one that I've sketched out ahead of time, just because I drew Cruella and Mort in the same sitting, so this is like new day sort of drawing. So when I drew him on a piece of paper traditionally first. He's this pose kind of threw me off a bit because of this one arm. It's gonna be holding a sword because he fights with a short sword. Ooh, not this. So a large part of this video is me with this gosh darn hooded poncho, and it doesn't work. And because when I was looking at his design on the piece of paper, I'm like, that's a little boring, isn't it? So I started to get in my head, and I was like, ooh, I need to step it up. I don't think I achieved what I wanted to achieve here with this design, and I fingers crossed that the guy didn't hate me for doing a design like this, but I think we pull it back in the end to make a design that I'm happy with, and I hope he's happy with too. I would have loved if this poncho worked. Oh, and these pants. These pants are like my comfort pants, but today's not a comfort day, so not those pants, please. I like the big, what are they called? Harem pants? Where they bunch up at the ankle. I love that. We gave him some regular pants this time though. I really he has a very simplistic design, but it's so simplistic that I love it. When I remove this hoodie poncho and make it something else. And this sword hand, I don't know why I decided this pose when I tried to figure out. He's supposed to be holding it I don't know how to describe it. What would you do to make this hand? I'm grabbing stuff around my place to. You sort of you know how if you have a TV remote, that's a good one. If you have it's sort of you're clicking on a TV remote, but the TV remote is a giant sword. So you can already tell that the final hand is not going to be a TV remote, it's going to be a sword when I mess around with it to get the fingers in the right place. Still at this point I'm still in denial. I'm gonna make this poncho work. Maybe if I take his whole body. Yeah, see, delete it. Wait, is this when I have to give up on the poncho? Did I finally come to reason? Yes. Okay, so now we can get onto the actual outfit I was drawing here. I gave him sort of a tank tube top, a cropped top that opens up, because he's wearing armor underneath it. He's gonna have plated armor. Excuse me, my throat. He has this asymmetrical little flap on the side. I don't know, to give him some more cover, because the coloring process for this one was again just a nightmare. Coloring is the best thing I do, and I always do it. It's always such a pain for me to do. These little horns were also a pain. The reference he gave me, they're sort of ram horns, and then in the back they cross over and then come around to the front. I think I made it work. I think it looks a lot better when the shading gets added to it, but overall I'm pretty happy with this, how Damrus's design ended up coming out. He has a bow on his back, and I'm in love with this little arrow pouch. I didn't give Cruella the bow pouch for some reason, even though she's the huntress, but I'm just she has a pocket behind her that she sort of pulls the bolts out. You don't need to look at it. Here we're going into lining. We're lining with blue. Blue's not going to be our final line color. It's just easier to see the blue over all the red sketches in the background. Fixing these eyes. Ugh. I am super duper happy with the final eyes for Damrus. I think I did a good job. like gonna pat myself on the back for that one. Yep. Okay, so he's a rogue, so I wanted to give him like a cloak, but I didn't want it to be like a cloak, you know? So like, it's sort of like a poncho. It's a scarf poncho, not a large poncho, but sort of a reasonable one. That pauldron giving me trouble. And it like has a hood on the back of it, so we can sort of like put the hood up. But like he has horns that make wearing a hood inconvenient, so I don't really know. The perspective of this arm gave me non-stop trouble, but we made it. In the end, we make it work. It looks really good, and I'm happy with it. This arm, I'm gonna talk about something else besides this arm, because this arm is bringing me to a bad place right now. It's bringing me to like an hour and a half ago when I was drawing those arms. So, the color choice. He said he told me he wanted red skin and edginess. He wanted dark eyes, and he wanted like a layer of edginess. And I don't know if I quite got the layer of edginess, but I got like that well, if you were like a 13-year-old boy and you were like a little bit more refined from the edginess, you're like, I'm really into fantasy more than I'm into edgy fantasy. So it's a little less Reaper from Overwatch and a little bit more I'm a demon from hell. Because like, I think that's like the step up. You go from like Death, the Reaper, to like a demon. I don't know. It worked in my head. Here's me fixing this hand, and I'm in love with this process. It looks so good. I think this is just me actually sketching out because this isn't the final line art for it. No, this is me sketching the sword, so I can draw an actual sword over the sword. The shoes are a bit questionable, I'm not gonna lie. Like a big, nice, pointy clog with like silver at the bottom. And I'm like, if he's a rogue, how is he supposed to sneak? Because he's gonna be making like a little clink clank sound everywhere he goes. Which I just think it's funny. I gave him tab shoes. There is he is a very difficult character because I'm like, okay, I'm not even like almost done the line art and I'm already talking about like every single color, but I'm just gonna keep talking about it because I really am in love with the color scheme. It's like a lot of like rich browns and burgundies and like a lightish, darkish, tannish, grayish color for his armor and like embellishments, and like a beautiful crimson red for his skin that I picked. And I did the thing I did with Cruella's eyes. I gave him like nice black scleras with like a nice red in the middle and blurred it out, and it looks like it's glowing, and I love it. I did my lazy, half getting into it shading for this one because I don't know, I was like in the moods. My lazy shading didn't quite work for what I wanted. So I'm like, okay, time to get in there a little bit, and I got in there. These shoes, I have no clue how to describe them to you. They are clogs. They do get painted to look like tap shoes at the end. But that whole shin guard, I'm just like, I don't know, dog. That's a shin guard. I never understood that about, like, when you look at so much fantasy artwork and stuff, you always see like the knee-high boots, but like it's not a boot, it's you have like the shoe underneath, and then it's just like a shin sort of drapery, like your shin's wearing a pillowcase or like a nice cocktail dress. But I don't know, I wonder why. I'll have to look into that, do some research on why fantasy, maybe it's a medieval thing. Did medieval people have knee-high boots? I'm gonna look that up after this. I love that hand is giving me life. Both the hands in this, I'm like, were giving me trouble, but after I figured it out, I love it. I love the hands for this one. It's really like it's not my best hands that I've ever made, but it's made me confident in figuring out, like right here when I fix this hand, I'm like, I love it. It's made me confident in making hands. Like, those are hands. You can't tell me those aren't hands. And especially the way he's like holding onto those arrows, you cannot tell me those aren't hands. This isn't the final red I choose because I do tweak some of the colors at the end. It's pretty close. The red I chose, I think, is a bit, it looks the red I chose is darker than this, but it looks brighter because the rest of the palette that I put around it, which I think is really cool. I love how colors work, man. Like you put like a dark color next to a light color, next to a different color, and they all look like different colors. That is not what I meant to say. I meant to say if I put a red next to like a dark green and a red next to like a dark purple, the red is gonna like mutate. It's gonna like change shades almost. But that's like with any color. I'm just using red as an example. And I think that is so cool that you can like almost trick the eye, and like you can make one color more satisfying to the eye by putting another color right next to it. It's like math for artists. No, it's like science for artists. Closer, but not 100% what I'm getting at. It's cool. It's a cool thing. It's a cool thing that I like doing when I'm doing art. I like to put the colors next to each other and work on color schemes. Because actually the weakest thing I think about my whole drawing area expertise is my color scheming. I know it's a shocker, it's not my poses. I don't think it's my poses, that's my biggest problem. When we got to this point, shading, I add more things to this after the shading. Shading is not where we end this video, because after I shaded this thing, I'm like, something is missing, you know? Like, it feels a little, just a tiny bit too bland. So I like put some colors in some different areas and then fine-tune some other colors. Added some trim to the poncho, which I think, I'm looking at something right now in the final piece that I'm very excited when it happens here, because it's unintentional and I can't wait to like Mr. Moneybags pop up my collar and like gloat and be like, that was on purpose. So I'm just waiting for it to happen, honestly. Let's just wait together. Let's wait for it to happen. It's not this, but it's in that area. It's really good. It's not that shading either. How long? Oh, drawing this was a nightmare, but I had so much fun. Whenever I do any drawing pieces, I always start with like, I'm drawing something again, and then I get into it and I'm like, wait, do I actually like drawing? And that's always a fun discovery for me when I find out that I actually enjoy art. Am I doing it? No. Oh, I also do another thing, which I'm gonna be very excited about when we show it. It's about the feathers on the arrows. Just shading. Oh yeah, loving the fact that I had decided to shade the sword instead of doing what I did for Creola's arrowhead and did a stupid little slit in it in the line art. Because like, look at the shading, looks so much better. Me sort of figuring out what the shading is supposed to look like. I don't know. Is that it? Nope. Okay, here we're adding some trim. I'm doing some test trims. In the sketch, I didn't have any trim here. The sketch looks so much better. Well, not really, actually. Now that I'm looking back at the sketch. Do I like my digital art better than I like my traditional art for once? Oh my god. That's so crazy. And I didn't give him a tail either. Oh my god, gotta restart the whole video. Hi guys. Oh, it's there, right there. Okay. You see that little skirt thing? Did you see the little gray thing that went up into the belt? I wish I could pause it. It looks like it's connected to the quill. So, and those little red things I'm very excited about. Is it called a quill? I don't know, the thing that holds all your arrows. Here's me doing the super cool thing with the eyes, but not this time, the next time. Yeah, I'm like, nah, not that. It ain't it, chief. Making the dark darker. Let's go. That's amazing. And I moved the eye shine so you can see it better. It looks like it goes back up into the quill. Like it looks, yeah. I'm so happy about it. It looks like it wraps around. I'm probably the best thing I've ever done, honestly. I'm so happy. And it's a different body type. Well, I don't know if I can say it for a fact it's a different body type, but his legs are a little bit shorter than I've usually drawn on people, and it made his, like, I didn't make him, like, super duper muscular. I love it. I love the skin tone I chose. Here's the up and down. Look at it. Up into the belt and then around to the arrows. Oh, it's so good. That's it. Yep.